In the early 2000s, I served as a senior advisor to the Ministry of Finance in Kabul. The country was the canvas for a massive international reconstruction effort. Outside organizations arrived with a singular prescription: privatize everything immediately. Banks, factories, and land, they wanted it all sold. Inside the ministry, two of the deputy ministers, Jelani Popal and Tarek Formoli, pushed back. We argued that markets are not just math. They require an underlying web of human relationships, trust between strangers, enforceable contracts, and courts that cannot be bought. Our warnings were dismissed. The privatizations proceeded anyway, and in a few short years, state assets passed into the hands of those with the guns and connections to take them. In our rush for efficiency, we had built a system for looting. The economists who designed this policy were not malicious. They were captured by a model. They looked at a living, tangled human territory and treated it like a static map. What happened in Kabul was not an isolated mistake. It was a fractal of the way we manage the entire planet. We take complex, living systems and try to force them into rigid, extractive grids. Today, that same logic is hitting a ceiling. Climate destabilization, financial fragility, and mass disinformation are no longer separate fires. They are interlocking breakdowns, all emerging from the same design error. This error is a blueprint of separation. We have built a civilization that assumes we can exist apart from nature, apart from one another, and apart from the future generations whose inheritance we mortgage for present convenience. These systems are not broken. They are working exactly as they were designed. They are optimized to extract value from the whole, to benefit an isolated part. For most of human history, survival was predicated on managing the commons. If the tribe failed, the individual failed. Cooperation was the matrix that made life possible. Then, starting with the agricultural revolution and accelerating through industrialization, that logic shifted. Land was enclosed, relationships were replaced by ownership, and cooperation was subordinated to competition. While industrial modernity dismissed the idea of interconnectedness as poetic metaphor, the hardest sciences have spent the last century confirming it as a physical fact. Take the human body. You host trillions of microorganisms like these. Without them, you could not digest food or fight infection. You are not an isolated self. You are a walking ecosystem. The atoms in your body were forged in stars like these. They have cycled through oceans, mountains, and living things for billions of years. From the microbiome to the galaxy, reality is fundamentally relational. We are relational beings trying to survive by running a separatist civilizational code. Historically, life on Earth has survived by forming wider circles of cooperation, cells forming organisms, organisms forming ecosystems. At each threshold, what had been competitors became collaborators. But we are at a transition unlike any other. For the first time, a species has acquired the capacity to edit the code of life, to split the atom, and to alter the atmosphere. We have acquired the power to shape evolution itself, yet we are still operating from the consciousness of frightened competitors. We have the reach of a planet-wide species, but the mindset of a small band fighting for survival. Our reach now exceeds the planet's resilience. The evolutionary pressure is becoming a binary. We must either design systems that align with the flourishing of all life or pull the entire experiment of complexity on Earth down with us. The breakdown of our institutions is not a glitch. It is the natural result of an extractive model reaching its limit. This chaos is an invitation to metamorphosis. Think of a caterpillar. It devours hundreds of times its weight until that success collapses into dissolution. Inside the chrysalis, its body breaks down into fluid, but within that apparent disintegration, imaginal cells stir, carrying the blueprint of what comes next. We are in the chrysalis. Surviving this transition requires more than just minor reform. It requires a conscious redesign of civilization, both the outer architecture of our institutions and the inner architecture of how we understand our place in the web of life. There is no utopia at the end of this, and no master plan. There are only thousands of localized experiments in cooperation and regeneration, already beginning to grow beneath the visible decay of the old system. We stand at the threshold. The choice is not whether we will face these interlocking crises. We already are. The choice is whether we meet them with the same fragmentation that built them, or with the courage to weave ourselves back into the fabric of life.